Union, Kentucky is one of the fastest growing cities in all of the Cincinnati area, and families from all over the country are flocking there because of the great schools, because of the great prices, the safe neighborhoods. It is a fantastic place to live. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you guys a full driving tour, show you the hot spots of Union, Kentucky, help you understand about all the growth that is happening there. And also, I'm going to show you my favorite neighborhoods, because living in Union, Kentucky is one thing, but you want to be sure you are picking the right spot so you're not wasting money and making a bad decision for your family. All of that is coming up right now. Let's get into it. Well, all right, guys, welcome into the Sztanyo venue. Why is it called the Sztanyo venue? Because my name is weird and it's hard to pronounce, and rhyming helps. So welcome into the Sztanyo venue. We are actually starting this tour closer to Cincinnati. I'm in Kentucky right now. I'm heading towards downtown Cincinnati. I'm on I-471 North. And the reason I wanted to start this here is just to give you a sense of, where Union is in compared to Cincinnati, how easy it is to get there. So we're about to cross this yellow bridge right now. We affectionately call it the Big Mac Bridge in Cincinnati because it looks like the golden arches of McDonald's. So we just crossed over the I-471 bridge there, the Big Mac Bridge, from Kentucky into Ohio. Probably see the lights of Great American Ballpark right in front of me. But one of the things I love about Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky in general is just how easy it is to get around. There's some traffic, and we're going to talk about that in this bridge coming up here in just a minute in that project. But overall, you can kind of get from any corner of one side of town to the other side in roughly 45 minutes. People around here locally will complain about traffic, but I think that just means they haven't lived in other places, in other bigger cities, because to be quite honest, it's actually pretty great. The only times it can get, a little bit slower is, rush hour in the morning, so probably like 7:30 to 8:45, kind of that time period. And also, from about right now, it'll start to pick up, but really 4:30 to 5:30, that time range is people are going home. Otherwise, it moves pretty good. And off to my left, if you guys can see it, is really the Banks, and Paycor Stadium is up here. You might be able to see that in the distance here, where the Bengals play. Bengals are 1-0. We beat the Browns in Cleveland. We won by 1 point, but I don't care. It's a win, and I will take it. Hooday, let's go Bengals. So I will go ahead and speak about this bridge that's coming up here. And, in terms of all of Cincinnati traffic, where I'm about to cross over, which is the Brent Spence Bridge, is probably the biggest bottleneck when it comes to causing traffic issues in the city. And the reason why is because there's multiple interstates coming together here. There's I-71 and I-75, and those interstates stretch all the way across the country. And so there's a ton of freight that goes through here. You're always going to see big trucks. And the other problem is it's a river valley. And so, especially on the Kentucky side, as you're coming across this bridge, you're going up what's called the cut in the hill. And that is, these big trucks that have a lot of weight on them, they can really struggle on that. It's almost always a little bit slower here. Now, if you watch another video that I recently put out about the major developments coming to Cincinnati, they are building a companion bridge right next to this one in the next several years. And the whole idea is to alleviate all this traffic crossing from Kentucky into Ohio right here, and vice versa the other way around, where through traffic can get on that new bridge, and all that freight can kind of move. And then if you're local commuter traffic, you're going to use this current bridge. So it should help things a ton. It's going to be a big traffic issue for the next, probably 5-7 years here in Cincinnati, because they have to build a bridge, but they also are going to be doing a lot of road projects on both sides of the river. And so it is going to be something that's going to be seen and felt. And if you're choosing whether it's Union, whether it's Mason, whether it's Anderson, the Kentucky or the Ohio side, a lot of times what I'll tell people who are relocating here is, where are you working? Okay, if you're working from home, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go across the bridge. But if you have a job on one side of the river or the other, and you need to cross this bridge every day, I try to tell you, hey, maybe we should look for neighborhoods on that side of the river so that you're not faced with this bottleneck and the traffic and the congestion and the headaches of the next 5 years of trying to get from Kentucky to Ohio or from Ohio to Kentucky. So now with Union, there are a lot of jobs in Northern Kentucky. I have helped a lot of people who have picked Union and Florence recently because of different manufacturing jobs associated with the airport. GE Aviation and GE Aerospace is a huge employer. And so that logistics hub with Amazon, with DHL, those jobs with GE Aerospace, etc. It's a lot of jobs moving to Northern Kentucky. All right, so we're continuing to travel down the interstate here. We're probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles south of Cincinnati. You can see off to my right, 275 is kind of merging on. So that's another place where it can get a little congested as a lot of people are making their way back home to these residential areas like Florence and like Union. The other thing you might see here as we're coming up is you might start seeing planes landing. We're getting a lot closer to CVG, which is the airport here in Cincinnati. A lot of people may or may not realize that the Cincinnati airport is actually in Covington, and that confuses a lot of people. But you know, I bring that up because the airport has been really a driver of growth for, I don't know, 30 plus years now in the area, specifically in Boone County, which is where Union is. We're coming up now on the Turfway Road exit, and we're not gonna pull off here. I'm actually gonna pull off at Mall Road in Florence because, you know, for Union, there is a lot of people living there. There are a lot of families living there. There's not a ton of commercial development, although that is beginning to expand with the Union Promenade, which we're going to check out a little bit later in this video. But where you see a lot of the commercial development over the years is Florence. Florence has been really built up. There are a lot of stores. There are a lot of restaurants. There are a lot of amenities in Florence, Kentucky. So if you're living in Union, where you will do a lot of your shopping is actually in Florence. And it's convenient, especially if you're working downtown, because you're driving right past it all the time. So you can get off at the Mall Road exit. There's a Costco, you know, there's a Sam's Club, there's a Meijer, there's all kinds of restaurants. There's a lot going on in Florence in terms of your shopping. And so I just wanted to point that out, that it's kind of in between you and the city. If you need to do your shopping, a lot of times that might happen in Florence, Kentucky. If you've ever driven I-71, I-75, you know this water tower. It's the Florence, y'all, water tower now. And probably anyone I've ever talked to where I said, hey, I grew up in Northern Kentucky. I actually grew up in Florence. They go, oh, Florence, y'all. Like, they all know that water tower. It's a pretty iconic spot in Florence. Now, I'm getting off here at the Mall Road exit. This is not actually the Union exit, but I'm getting off again just to show you some of the shopping that's here on Mall Road. It's kind of its own corridor for shopping. You do have the Florence Mall, which is, I will say, has seen better days, but haven't most malls in America seen better days? If you want the premier shopping in Northern Kentucky, I'd recommend you go to the Crestview Hills Town Center, which is just at kind of the intersection between I-275 and 75 South. But here on Mall Road, there is quite a bit as well. And I'm not gonna go the other direction. I'm gonna head more towards Union, but I just wanted to give you a feel of what this looks like here on Mall Road. Again, if you're living in Union, chances are you're gonna find yourself here on Mall Road in Florence, Kentucky a lot. Like I said, there's a Costco right here. There's a Menards, Dave & Buster's, Crossroads Church, which is the biggest mega church here in town. They have different locations. They have a location right here on Mall Road as well. There's Outback Steakhouse, Chick-fil-A. As we're getting out here into the burbs, you're gonna get more of the burbs restaurants, right? The more chain restaurants. So now we are turning from Mall Road onto US 42. And as you can see, we are hitting some of that afternoon traffic, and it's 4:20 p.m. right now. So this is kind of, like I said, from now for the next hour is kind of peak rush hour. And there's really 3 ways to get into Union, Kentucky. You've got this US 42 exit, which really heads into Florence and then on into Union. If you go a little further south down I-75, there's going to be the Mount Zion Road exit, and then one exit further south is going to be the Richwood exit. Now, Richwood technically doesn't get off into Union. Another fun fact, up here on my right is Ackerman Middle School, where I grew up playing middle school basketball. I was 4'0", point guard, and I was a good defender though. I was sticky. All right, so we're going down the road now on 42. Plantation Point is a neighborhood right off our left. That's a very affordable neighborhood. You can get homes in the 300s and 400s in there. They do have pools as well. And we're kind of crossing over right now from Florence into Union. Right here on my right is a Publix that is coming in. Now, that's kind of big news around here because Cincinnati is home to Kroger. Oh, by the way, Skyline Chili. Also here off of Plantation Point, these homes, is the Boone County Library right here as well. So here straight ahead of me, you can see this giant Kroger. So you can get everything you need on that. And like I said, Publix is coming soon as well. It's Buffalo Wings and Rings, great place to get some wings, watch a game, and then just pulling over here to show you guys this Grater's Ice Cream, which does have a drive-thru. If you've never had Grater's Ice Cream, you are missing out on one of the best treats in all of life. They make it in French pots. I did a whole video on Grater's Ice Cream, so you guys can go check that out if you want. We're actually pulling off of Old Union Road here, so a lot of this new development on 42 has happened. What Union, Kentucky used to be is a lot of horse farms. You can actually probably see some of these in the distance here as we're pulling into this first neighborhood. But this neighborhood was built about 25, 30 years ago now, I would say. This is Orleans. I want to show this one first because you'll feel the difference between a neighborhood that has these more mature trees, that's more established. In terms of price points, you're probably going to be anywhere between the 4s and 5s. You can probably find some homes in the 3s here as well, but it's got a French theme, kind of a French Quarter theme here as we head into the neighborhood. This is a great neighborhood for families. It's an affordable price point. You can get a lot of homes in the 4s, maybe getting into the 5s a little bit, but 3-bedroom homes, 4-bedroom, a lot of 2-story, 4-bedroom homes here in Orleans. The price per square foot is going to be a little bit lower here because some of these homes are going to potentially need some maintenance. Maybe they'll need a new roof, maybe they'll need a new furnace, and that hasn't been done yet by the sellers. But if you're wanting to get into Union, get into the great schools, get into these safe neighborhoods, this is a great place to check out here in Orleans. And the HOA is not crazy in these neighborhoods. It's really not that bad at all. This might be a neighborhood where you can find a house that is 10 years old and you don't want to deal with all the headaches of new construction, where they're still building out the neighborhood, but you can get a newer home, you can get some of those amenities and features that you like. But if you're wanting a newer home and you want a little bit of a discount, you can buy these houses that are, within 5 years old, 10 years old, something like that. The price per square foot is going to be lower than new construction. Obviously on the new construction side, it's fun because you can pick the lot, you can pick the floor plan and the design and the finishes and all that. You don't necessarily get those choices here. Now the downside if you're buying a resale home versus new construction is there might be some money that you need to put into the house, right? These are homes, like these neighborhoods, we help buyers all the time and we help them kind of run the math on that decision if you think new construction is a better fit. So if that is something you're thinking about, whether you want to do a resale home or new construction, definitely reach out to us. We help so many buyers. We got some great relationships with the builders here, whether that's Dries Homes or Fisher Homes or Arling House or the other builders here in Northern Kentucky that are pretty popular. We built up those relationships where we can help negotiate the best prices for you, know what's coming on the market sooner, know what those best incentives are, and also just be an advocate for helping you in your new build along the way. Especially if you're out of town, it's just nice to have someone here who's, advocating for you. And if something goes wrong in the new build process, which can definitely happen, we can fight that battle for you and you don't have to. So this street I'm pulling down here in Orleans, I wanted to show you because you're going to find it here in Orleans as well as other communities here in Union, Kentucky are these townhomes. Now these are going to be a lot of single story, lower maintenance homes. These are great if you're looking to downsize, if you're retired, if you're wanting to be by the grandkids in Union, Kentucky, but you don't want to maintain a huge 2,500, 3,000 foot house anymore. These are a great option here. And these townhomes are going to be in the 300s, probably 300 to 400. So they're a great option. You can get 3 bedrooms. A lot of them are going to have finished basements, so they're perfect to have the grandkids over for a sleepover, but not as much house to maintain as some of these other 2-story homes. All right, so there's a look at Orleans. I really like this neighborhood. It's a great option. There's going to be a few other neighborhoods in Union that are like this, that are about that 20, 25-year-old age, where you can get that home in the 400s, the 500s, maybe the low 6s, but you're not quite paying the prices that you would if you're going over to Triple Crown, let's say, in some of the houses there that are a little bit more prestigious, a little bit more premium in value. All right, so we are heading into our second neighborhood, which is definitely one of my favorites also in Union, Kentucky. We're leaving kind of the French Quarter at Orleans, and we are gonna pull into Ballyshannon here. So this is a very, very popular neighborhood here in Union, Kentucky. You guys can see this beautiful pond as you pull in. You can see right in front of me, there is a pool, there's a clubhouse, there is a splash pad. And Ballyshannon, while Orleans has the French Quarter theming, Ballyshannon is the Irish theming. So you got these long grasses and shamrocks kind of throughout the neighborhood. All right, so right off the front of the neighborhood, you can see there's still some new construction going in. You've got plenty of pickleball courts right here. You've got a playground, a swing set, a large pool. There's a splash pad here. So this was booming all summer long for sure. Lots of kids in this neighborhood, lots of families in this neighborhood. This gets a lot of use. All right, so we are on Lock Drive here in Ballyshannon. I love this neighborhood. It's really nice. And you can see just from driving through it again, great sidewalks, great curb appeal. You're gonna find a lot of 2-story homes, a lot of 2-story, 4-bedroom homes. Another nice thing that people really love about these newer houses in the area is you're gonna have basements. And it's really great, to be quite honest. You get, all this extra living space. You can finish it out with these homes. It's gonna be dry. These are newer homes, even though they're on hills. Now, a lot of homes in Cincinnati, you're not gonna get that. You might get older foundations that weren't poured and weren't water sealed properly. And so you could get moisture and you can get water in the basement. Here in these newer homes, that's pretty rare. unless something really went wrong and the basement is cracked. But people are friendly here. You get to know your neighbors. You're gonna probably have a grill out or a barbecue with your neighbors. You're gonna have birthday parties. All right, we're pulling up here from Ballyshannon Drive, the intersection and Shamrock and Westbrook Boulevard. Straight ahead is the middle school. Maybe I'll show that in a minute. But I also wanna show you guys this new neighborhood by Dries Homes called Aberdeen. So this is a great new neighborhood by Dries. Most all the other homes in Ballyshannon are Fisher Homes or Arling House. This neighborhood's gonna have a pool. It's got the walking trails. It's gonna have natural areas. It's gonna have a clubhouse, lots of amenities here. There's a playground, there is fishing. Very cool, Aberdeen. They're gonna be building a lot of houses here for years to come. You can come to the model home and check it out, but you can see the development that is happening here. So there's a look at Aberdeen. Like I said, if you're interested in new construction, definitely hit us up. We're very familiar. Besides being relocation experts, I would say we're also new construction experts in the area. All right, now one thing I will say, if you are thinking new construction here at Aberdeen or Ballyshannon or Triple Crown or Traemore or various places around Union, Kentucky, I highly, highly recommend you reach out to an agent like us first before you fill out a form online, before you go into a model home, before you call in to one of these builders. And then any battles that you have along the way, or just to make it a more smooth and painless process, be sure you reach out to our team. We've got really great relationships with Dries Homes, with Fisher Homes, with Arling House, with so many of the builders here in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area. And we can help get you the best deal and make sure that process is as smooth as possible for you. All right, I'm driving back here to the middle school because, like I said, this is just kind of an interesting component of this neighborhood, is that the middle school is right in the middle of the neighborhood. So kids can walk here, they can ride their bikes here. If you are going to drive and drop them off, it's not far at all. But this is, one of the things that people love about Union, Kentucky are these brand new schools. These are highly ranked schools. They're consistently ranked some of the top schools in Northern Kentucky, specifically in, on the high school side, Ryle Highschool, Cooper High School. These are areas that they're newer schools and they consistently rank very highly. There's certainly no question that, these safe neighborhoods, these great homes, and these top-rated school districts are a huge reason why the demand is so high in Union. All right, so we're making our way back to more of the south end of Ballyshannon. We just turned onto Donegal Avenue, and I sold a lot of houses on Donegal Avenue. Now, one of the things when you're living in one of these newer neighborhoods versus Orleans, which is already developed, there's a lot of construction. There's one of my listings right now. Actually, I'm selling that house and I'm selling this house up here right now. So there's my sign in the yard. I see 2 houses that I'm selling here. Like I said, I know this neighborhood really well. As we're getting towards the back of this neighborhood, the other thing you'll see is it's some different product types. So you've got a lot of these single family homes, these 2-story homes. You've also got, I'm going to pull down here on Limerick, you've got these different condos and townhomes and also patio homes by Fisher Homes. So again, some low maintenance. If you don't want to buy, if you're not interested in that single family home, but you want some of these amenities and you like this location of Union, these are some great products. And it's kind of nice to have this diversity of product in this neighborhood where you've got these low maintenance patio homes as well as the condos and townhomes. So a lot of this neighborhood is Fisher Homes Designer Collection, which is kind of their mid-tier collection. But towards the back of the neighborhood, they are building their Masterpiece Collection homes, which are their highest end of homes. And we did a video on this earlier, but it's kind of like if you want the best home, the top of the end home, but you don't want to pay maybe the pricing for Triple Crown, you might want to check out Ballyshannon because it's going to be pretty significantly lower in terms of the base price. Now, you're not getting the country club, you're not getting the golf course right here in the community, but if you're okay driving 5 minutes down the road to Lasting Point, the public golf course, you might want to look at these Masterpiece Collection homes here in Ballyshannon. And here's the new phase and the new section pulling down Cullen Drive. You can see these are going to be, again, larger sites. They're going to have, they've got a kind of a lake pond back here, so several of them are going to have these lake views. It's going to be a little bit more private. Again, Ballyshannon is a great neighborhood if you are thinking about new construction. It's a good option to get something newer, but maybe slightly discounted than buying the brand new house. All right, so I'm heading down US 42 and I'm actually going to turn into Ryle High School. So Ryle High School was opened in 1992. Before then, like I said, Florence, Kentucky was kind of where everything was at, and Boone County High School, which is where I graduated from, but that's where there were more students before Ryle was built. And then over time, Ryle High School kind of ran out of space as well, and Cooper High School was built. Fun fact, I played baseball for Boone County High School. I took one out here. Ryle was our rival, okay? Ryle Raiders. I was dating a girl from Ryle.
at the time. And I just maybe happened to hit a 3-run home run to straightaway center field. It was probably the farthest ball I have ever hit in my life. It's a memory I cherish to this very day. As I rounded third and saw all of the players from Ryle who were very angry at me and didn't like the fact that I was dating one of the prettiest girls in their school. On this campus, you have Ryle High School. You also have Gray Middle School right here. Like I said, these schools are consistently ranked some of the best in Northern Kentucky. So a lot of people want to get their kids into these Boone County public schools. And I'm not going to go there right now. I'm just going to kind of turn around. But right across the street, there are a couple of neighborhoods as well, really similar to Orleans, that you're going to find homes in the 500s range, big homes that are right close to the school there. There's also some development right across the street, some new restaurants. That's pretty great. So a lot of good options for homes right near the high school. Another thing that's probably good to know if you're moving to the area is it's a pretty big sports culture. Ryle is one of these schools, Cooper as well, that consistently have really good athletic programs. So if you want your kids to be involved in sports, Ryle High School is a great fit for that. If you guys can see the field here, I'm trying to drive by. Kids practicing football, soccer, basketball, track, baseball. These are all really popular events. And come fall, where we're in the brand new school season, it's really fun to just hear the marching bands playing and practicing. Shirley Mann Elementary is also on campus here. So you've got Shirley Mann Elementary, Gray Middle School, and Ryle High School. And one other thing I wanted to point out before I leave kind of this overall campus here is I'm driving back to Lassing Point, which is it's really a great public golf course. So let's say you're living in Union, but you don't want to spend money to go to Triple Crown Country Club. I get it. It's not cheap. Lassing Point is a really, really solid public course option. There are some great practice facilities here as well. So it's great for the kids, for putting, for chipping, for learning how to hit out of the bunkers and all that. And there's a driving range as well. Look, right here, you got these kids out here playing right now. So just proving my point. It's a great place to play. Big green, so it's kind of friendly in terms of how that goes. But if you like golf, but you don't want to, spend the money for the country club, highly recommend Lassing Point here, right behind Ryle High School. All right, so we are heading out of Ryle High School. We're about to go down Frogtown Road. Off to my right here is Union Point Center. So a little bit of walkability here. You don't get a ton of walkability in Union. We are heading down Frogtown Road. I will point out this other neighborhood that I really like. It's also by Drees Homes, called Traemore, Traemore. And a lot of new construction there as well. Really pretty in terms of the lakes, just designed really well. Some nice houses there. So again, if you're thinking new construction, you want to be in Union, you want to be really close to Ryle High School or the middle school or Shirley Mann Elementary, Traemore could be a really good option. But we are about to go to my favorite neighborhood in Union, Kentucky, which is really the most exclusive, the most prestigious neighborhood in not only Union, but probably all of Northern Kentucky, and that is Triple Crown. Now, Triple Crown is a master plan community. It's been developed for probably 35, 40 years now. So some of the homes have been here for quite a while. You're ranging anywhere from homes in the 400,000s. You do have some of those townhomes in here as well. The home's well over $2 million. So there's a pretty big range in terms of the type of home you can get in this neighborhood. It is built on a championship level golf course. It has the country club, Triple Crown Country Club. And as we're pulling in here, you're immediately hit by some of these golf holes that are, as you drive in, it's just really, really pretty. The entire community is so well thought through, so well designed. This is a neighborhood that when I drive, a lot of clients through, never been to the area before, they're like, what is that? I like that. I want to live there. Now, part of this is you feel like you're in Kentucky, right? Because it's Triple Crown, which is based off of horse racing. So a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of the streets are named after famous horses, famous races. Secretariat Run over here. You'll see that on the golf course. The logo and the symbol that they use are horseshoes. So it's just really cool to have that Kentucky feel. You've got some beautiful houses. These are going to be $1 million plus houses that are overlooking the golf course. What's really great about this neighborhood, it's Ballyshannon, it's Orleans, but it's just on a higher level, okay? So you're going to get the beautiful golf course that's kind of woven in and out, just those serene, really pretty views. But you're also going to get the safety, you're going to get the sidewalks. All those things we mentioned for the other neighborhoods are just on another tier and on another level here in this neighborhood. There's a pretty good variety of housing here as well. So again, there are some townhomes in the community. There are some of those patio homes. There are some condos. It's mostly single family, but it's a pretty good mix. You'll also see quite a few parks sprinkled throughout this neighborhood. So I'm going to pull into one right here. And they're going to have playgrounds. They're going to have basketball courts. They're going to have shelters. They're going to have tennis courts or pickleball courts as well. So you'll see these kind of sprinkled throughout Triple Crown. It's really nice part of this community. There's the tennis behind me, but you see these pickleball courts sprouting up all over the place. If you look right in front of me, you can see the clubhouse. Looks like they've got some junior golfers here having a practice tonight, maybe doing some practicing and some competition here. Now, a question I get often is, do I have to be a member at the golf club to live in Triple Crown? The answer is no, you don't. You don't have to have any kind of association with the country club itself. A lot of people do. And I'll point out here, this guy on his golf cart, this is a golf cart community. So you'll see that all the time where, families are driving around from the country club to their house in a golf cart. It just makes it feel, homier, nicer, a little bit smaller in nature as people drive around with their golf carts. And it's just fun to get around that way. I'm going to be pulling into the clubhouse now, but you don't have to be an actual golf member. You don't have to be a member at all. And if you don't, the HOA is actually really manageable. I want to say it's like between $500 or $700 a year. And if you don't want to golf, you can also get a social membership where you can enjoy the pool, the pickleball courts, the different social events that are here. If you're not a golfer, or you don't have golf in the family. You've also got this outdoor event space, which is great for weddings, for different events, as well as the clubhouse itself for your meals and entertaining. And I just love driving through here. The golf course, these mature trees, it's all just really peaceful, really beautiful, a great place to live. You're going to walk in the evenings. It's really nice and serene and peaceful. The landscaping is always on point. It's just so pretty in here. And you'll see that most of the fences are going to be either a wrought iron or a split wood rail fence that will keep pets in, at least. Maybe like those little guys right there. But what you don't see here, and actually most HOAs don't allow them, are the 6-foot privacy fences. If you don't want to see your neighbors at all, Triple Crown is not right for you. Or really a lot of the neighborhoods that are going to have an HOA in Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati. So you're going to want, a neighborhood that doesn't have an HOA. And I have to explain this a lot to people. They're like, why is that? Why are there no fences here? I'm like, well, we talk to our neighbors. Like, it's a friendly place to live. It's a really nice thing about living here is that you get to know your neighbors, and probably your kids are going to play in their yard, their kids are going to play in your yard. That's just part of it, of living in Northern Kentucky. Called Triple Crown because, hey, we're in Kentucky, and so it's got a Kentucky Derby, Kentucky horse racing kind of theme throughout, and so it's kind of a fun theme throughout the neighborhood. You can tell there are some fairly large homes here. You're going to be anywhere from probably 2,500 to 4,000 or even 4,500 square feet, and a lot of these homes are going to have basements as well. They're going to have finished basements, and so you're going to get an additional 600 to 800 to 1,000 square feet of finished space in your basement. That's one thing, people moving here from Texas or Florida or California or Arizona, they're always like, what are the basements like? I want to know what the basements are like. They're always very excited about that. And it is a really nice part of living in this area, is you can get that finished basement and all that extra living space. And the other thing that is built up here that the residents here absolutely love is a Publix. The first Publix in Northern Kentucky opened up here. And it makes sense. It's a higher end shopping experience than Kroger, than what most people experience. And, most of the residents that are here in Triple Crown are a little bit more higher end. But if you're used to Publix and you are used a bit of a more premier shopping experience for your groceries, if you love those pub subs as well, then you're going to love that here being so convenient at Triple Crown. So I'm here heading out the south entrance here onto Richwood Road. And you are seeing more and more of these roundabouts be put in Northern Kentucky, which I love. I just think they're easier to navigate. I think they keep everything going forward. And right ahead of me, I'm not going to go down there right now, but there's a lot off the Richwood exit in terms of some restaurants, some gas stations, things like that. Of course, the Skyline Chili, which you got to have. But now we're entering back into Triple Crown from the south entrance. I'm going to show you some of these new houses that have gone up. There are a few lots left. Fraser Homes is out here as well, but most of these lots are spoken for. These homes are going to be probably in that $1 million to $1.5 million range. But access to the golf course, access to the country club, and super close access to the interstate make these really highly desirable. All right, guys, so we are pulling up on the largest development that is happening here in Union. It's very excited. It's been looking forward to for a long time. There's a United Dairy Farmers here. There's a Cincinnati Children's Hospital here, which is great. If you don't know, that hospital is consistently ranked like in the top 5 in the nation for children's hospitals. So to have that again here locally is great. We've also got Schlotsky's Deli. You got a Wingstop, but this development, Union is not very walkable, but they kind of designing this to be one of the only walkable places in all of Union, where you've got restaurants, where you've got shops, and you've got a lot of housing nearby. Right across on my right, you've got Arbor Springs, you've got Harmony neighborhoods. Those have been developed for a little bit. And then on my left, you've got a lot of new construction that is going in. But this is an area, if you want a little bit of walkability in an area of town, in a suburb that doesn't have a lot of walkability, this might be somewhere you want to check out.
And it's fun to see this. I haven't been in here in a little bit, and there's quite a bit of more development going on than the last time I was here. And when it comes to value and buying into a neighborhood early where you know it's gonna appreciate, this would be a strong bet. I mean, it's centrally located here in Union. There's so much money into this development, into the retail here, in the commercial space. So if you're thinking about where to spend that's gonna not only hold its value, but probably appreciate in the years to come, the retreat at Union Promenade by Dries Homes, I think it's a strong bet that this Union Promenade is going to be a great place for your investment over time. I love looking out here. If you can see that in the distance, that's old Union Road. And so US 42 goes behind me. But that's the way I used to get to Lansing Point and Triple Crown and everywhere else. And you still got some of these beautiful horse farms. So some of these properties here by Dries Homes and at Union Promenade, you're looking out over those awesome horse farms. They're just grazing in the pasture. It's really beautiful. Union, Kentucky comes with safety, schools, and lifestyle that make it the #1 suburb in Northern Kentucky. But it also comes with rising prices, competition, and a lot of growth that can be really hard to navigate on your own. That's why it's so important to work with an agent who both knows the area and can help you make a wise decision for your family. Guys, that's what we do at Team Sztanyo. Our job is to help you find your home and strengthen your family. That is our tagline. That is what we care about. So I would love to help your family get into the right home for you in Union, Kentucky. You can call, text, or email us. We would love to help you out. Let's talk. I want to get to know more about you and your situation. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.